Using the capo here, like I said, now we talked about parts, and one way to make parts interesting is to find different places to either inversions, which I would encourage you. One of the best things I ever did, I had a guitar teacher early on here in Nashville at Belmont University that helped me understand the importance of finding ways to play the same chord up and down the neck of the guitar. So we're not going to go into a lot of that now, but I will encourage you to go, Google is your friend, Google chord inversions, and you'll find more inversions than you'll ever be able to play in your lifetime. And you can use them accordingly then, and rather than being overwhelmed by the theory of it, I would select a few things that then become important. I remember somebody, way back, I bought my first guitar from a guy who's a great player, and he just showed me that inversion of an E minor chord, you know, and I've always loved it because and now it's, as opposed to just playing a straight E minor, you know, just the difference in how that sounds. Same up here. Those become, and I'll show you what it sounds like in the key of E. But when you learn an inversion, you're going to learn to play a C here and here. You'll go up and down the neck, and you'll find the positions to play the same chord. Then when you're creating a part, now you're a lot more interesting. Let's say there are two guitar players in the band. One of the first things I'm doing is listening to who's going to put this on first. So if a guy's going to a part, and I hear he's not even thinking about a capo, I may go, okay, we're in the key of E here. Or whatever key you're in, I may capo up to the 5th fret because I like. And all of a sudden, that part that you might come up with in whatever key you're playing becomes a little more interesting because you're not fighting for the same sonic space. So a capo is brilliant to help you find, it's a tool that you can use at the right time to create a lot more interesting parts. And now you're naturally playing in a different inversion, whether you know it or not. Just because you've capoed and you're playing in the right key, you're playing a different inversion of the chord. And an example of that is if I were playing the key of E, I could do this, the famous worship key of E. 90% of the worship songs forever were in that key. And if I didn't want to always be playing it, you know, with the bar chord here or down there like that, I could play it with E. And then if I had a drop D, I can turn it down, and now that's nice. And speaking of the drop D, the cut capo gives you the ability, like I said, to do dad-gad fingering. So let's take it off to give you the proper demonstration. In the key of E, I'm playing dad-gad fingering with one exception. If you're used to dad-gad tuning, I could detune the guitar and show you, but you're stretching to hit that G chord. Well, here you can play your normal G. You don't have to stretch anymore, but I'm in the key of E, so I can use dad-gad fingering. So it's a nice open inversion, open sounding chord, so I use it anytime I'm leading. I've always got this with me, and actually wherever I'm playing, doing anything, I've always got it because it gives me a unique color. But the beautiful thing to me is without you having to know all these fingerings in dad-gad, you immediately start playing your normal chords and fingering, and they all work. But when you want the drop, so it would be the equivalent of a drop D, but you're in the key of E, so you've got the low E. So a lot of country music you'll hear. So it's just a nice little tool, and then I do this a lot, you know, all the time. I'm always moving up and down the neck. So now I've got two capos, which makes tuning even more fun. So you hear the tension gets off, so you have to tweak. And in this case, it's not clamped well, so you work till you can hear every string. And then you kind of know you have the attention. So now, or if I'm doing more atmospheric. So the important thing is to remember that you have a lot of tools at your disposal. I carry a slide, I carry an EBow. I don't always have to use them, but they're there in case I need them.